Good evening, my friends, or good morning if it's already across the date line for you. This is John Lavania, and this is your Black Diamond call for Monday, the 31st of July, 2017, last call of the month. Of course, we'll be starting next month here in just a few hours on our wake-up call tomorrow. But right now, you're on the Black Diamond, where we kind of let our hair down and give you a bit more of the ideas for success that have brought us to the top. Hence the title of the call, the Black Diamond, expert level stuff. I do want to especially welcome our brand new members. If this is your first time joining us here on the Black Diamond call, you're in for an awesome treat tonight. We've got a great guest speaker, Wait till you hear this person. Oh my goodness, some of you have heard her before, but regardless, you're going to be hearing from her tonight. Before we get into all that, though, I do have a couple announcements, and that first announcement is that we are having our Marketing Mastery event for October 14th and 15th. That will be in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada, and you can get information and early bird pricing, heavily discounted tickets available right now and for a limited time at digitalaltitude.co/MME. MME as in Marketing Mastery Event. So digitalaltitude.co/MME. And coinciding with that event is our big affiliate contest, $150,000 worth of cash and prizes being given away, and something for everyone to win. There is so much opportunity there, and this contest just kicked off. You can get more details about that at digitalaltitude.co/MME contest. So just add contest onto the end of that MME, and then you'll go straight to the contest details page. And again, that is open for everyone. You do not have to be a seasoned veteran marketer to participate in that or to claim some prizes for yourself. So definitely looking forward to seeing everybody there. Whether you're brand new in business, well, you won't be by the time you get there, right? This is a couple months away, so we do have a bit of advance notice, which is very, very nice. And I know the lineup there is going to be tremendous. Every top earner in Digital Altitude will be there. So we want you there as well, because you're one of our next top earners, aren't you? Well, that's something that you need to claim for yourself, and hopefully you're claiming exactly that right now. But on to our Black Diamond call for tonight. This morning, if you were on the wake-up call, you heard me discuss a little bit about my buddy Ralph Emerson, one of my favorite philosophers, and he talked about the law of laws being cause and effect. And we talked a bit about transitioning from the consumer mindset to the producer mindset, or from the employee mindset to that of the entrepreneur. Okay, this is all great stuff, but we're going to take it a step further, as I alluded to this morning. We're going to take it a step further into the actual things that you can do, yes, actionable steps that you can do to make yourself more causative in your life. In other words, to claim and to accept the responsibility for what it is that you're looking to create, the effects that you're looking to have. Yes, if we're going to be effective, we've got to be cause, and one thing we can do is certainly examine our actions. Now, before we get into all that, I do need to offer my typical disclaimers on the Black Diamond call. This is a bit different in the way that we don't really pre-plan or pre-script anything here. This is all very off the cuff. Sometimes it's rather street. Sometimes it's kind of in your face. It may challenge you a little bit. That's fine, right? I'm not here to just be comfortable either. I like to learn stuff. I've never learned anything by, just sitting here and being right, So we're going to get into it. And so the idea here is that you take what you like and leave the rest, just like a buffet. See how these ideas apply into your life and into your business, and do put them to use, okay? Because they're of no use to you if they just stay on the call. You got to actually put them to use, which is part of what we're going to be talking about here tonight. And as I always mention, if I say anything that offends you, you'll get over it. That's just how we roll. We're just going to go ahead and let it all hang out here tonight. So that being said, we do have my secret weapon on the line with me tonight. This is a person who, again, some of you have met, certainly the people who were at the Peak Conference in Dominican Republic just, what is that, a month and a half ago? I don't know. I don't even know what month it is half the time. But yes, she got to address everyone at the Peak event and gave a whole lot of great insight on how to get more stuff done in less time, and now how to have a method. Yes, a method, because I can tell you that to get more done in less time, not only do you need to know what to do, but you should also have some methods in doing it. And this person is a master of that. She gets more done in less time than most people that I've ever met in my life, including myself, by the way. And and she is my secret weapon for that reason. She also happens to be my wife. Of course, we're talking about the legend, Shannon Lavenia. Shannon, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. How are you doing?
I am doing
Of course,
great.
I know how you're doing.
What a treat to be able to share you with the Digital Altitude group here tonight. Some people don't know that you do a lot of work behind the scenes in preparing the events like the Marketing Mastery event that's coming up and all this. And so you are just a dynamo. And I don't know where you want to go with all this. Maybe a bit about how you got to be a dynamo, but certainly how others can be as well.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great topic. So I'll share a bit about my story, and if you've been around DA for a while, you may have heard it before. And then I'm also going to share with you the very few things, the very vital things that have made a very critical difference to the amount of success that I've been able to have and as fast as I've been able to have it and achieve it. And if you don't have a pen and paper, definitely grab one because you're going to want to write down some of the things that I talk about today. But I will tell you right off of the bat that I am pretty much a very, very unlikely success story. So I come from a background of very extreme poverty. My mom, I was born, my mom was a single mom. She was an alcoholic. And I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for you today because sometimes when people meet me, they're like, oh, well, of course it's easy for you to be successful because you have all this money and skills and, all this stuff. Well, I'll tell you, I didn't come into the world with this, and I definitely didn't come into the world with any of the abilities that enabled me to have the success. So I'm going to tell you how if you feel like you're at a disadvantage because of your upbringing, your circumstances, the things that you're experiencing in life, how you can kind of just push that away and develop the skills and aptitudes that you require to be successful. So my mom was a single mom. She was an alcoholic. I often tell some really funny stories that at the time weren't funny. But at the time, like from a grown-up looking at a grown-up, probably wouldn't have thought it was funny. But now looking back at it, it actually is kind of funny. Like there was one night when my mom was also a bartender. So if you can picture that, she was an alcoholic bartender. It's like perfect thing. And she was really just the type of person who was like fumbling through life, trying to do the best that she could. She was an alcoholic bartender, and she would bring me to the bar with her, right? Because she didn't have enough money for childcare or whatever. So she'd bring me to the bar with her. Well, one night she forgot me at the bar. So, like, they locked up. She went home with some guy probably, and I was left in the bar until the morning when the cleaning crew came in. And then I had to call my mom and, figure out where to take me and stuff like that, right? So I spent the night in the bar when I was, like, 5 years old. And then, then there were other stories like this that when I think back, I'm like, nowadays we talk about, Child Protective Services calls if your child walks to the park alone. Back then, like, nobody called anybody. So it was, you kind of, like, had this, thing where you just did what you did, right? So my mom passed away when I was 7 years old. That's a whole nother story. And I went to live with my grandfather, who was her dad, and my step-grandmother. My step-grandmother, in every sense of the word, was insane. Like, she was just a very, very insane, mean lady. And my grandfather was amazing. Like, he was just this incredible, incredible guy, and he taught me these really valuable life lessons. And my grandfather, you're probably like, why did my grandfather stay with this crazy lady? Well, my grandfather really took the vow of marriage very seriously, and he felt like if he had left her, she would end up, like, homeless on the streets because she was a loony, right? But growing up with her was a real treat, I'll tell you that. So my grandfather was really this amazing guy, and one of the things that my grandfather did instill in me was this drive to be very self-sufficient and self-reliant. And in fact, when I was 12 years old, my grandfather and my grandmother sat me down, and you've got to imagine right there, my grandparents, they were older, and they were elderly, and they weren't doing so well, and they were retiring. And they sat me down and they said, okay, well, we're retiring, your grandmother's sick, she has rheumatoid arthritis, she can't be a seamstress anymore, right? My grandfather was retiring, he had lung problems from working in the sand plant, and they said, So we're not going to be able to afford to take care of you. You're going to have to basically, work, get a job, and take care of yourself. So I was 12 years old at the time. So I got a job at a church. I also sold, wrapping paper door to door and just did the things that I needed to do. And I had this idea that I needed to go to college. And where I got that idea, no one in my family had ever gone to college, very, very blue-collar upbringing. My grandfather had a 6th grade education. My grandmother had a 4th grade education. She was a seamstress that worked in a factory that made dresses for Manhattan. My grandfather was a machinist, right? And just to give you an idea, where I got my clothes from, my grandfather would bring home bags of clothes that were dumped at the sand plant. People would just go and dump junk there and stuff in these sand pits. He would bring home bags of clothes and we would dig through it to find things that fit, So I wore plaid bell bottoms 5 years after plaid bell bottoms were in. But, when I was 18 years old, so I became friends with this girl named Marnie. Marnie's family was more wealthy than my family. Her father was actually the mayor of the town of Lakewood, New Jersey, Jewish family, really, really nice family. But Marnie and I had something in common because her mom had passed away too. Her mom had passed away from breast cancer. So we became instant buddies, right? And her dad said to me, if you want to improve your life, you need to go to college. And I was like, okay. And it was just something that I kind of grasped onto, I need to go to college. Now, everyone in my family literally thought I was nuts. They were like, college is for rich people. You're not a rich person. If you're lucky enough, you'll find a guy with money, right? Go find a guy with money. That was from my family's viewpoint, my task in life was to go find a guy with money. From my viewpoint, it was okay, I need to go to college. Well, in high school, because my grandmother was so insane, I also was a runaway, right? So I would run away from home, and then, the police would catch me and they'd bring me back. And then one time the chief of police who lived in our neighborhood gave me an option, right? He was like, look, you can't keep running away from home. This is really becoming a problem. And I'm going to get in trouble because technically, if you run away, I can't keep bringing you home because you're a ward of the state. You don't belong to them. I would have to take you to a group home. So he took me to this teenage group home, left me there for a little bit, and it was just hell. I mean, it was the worst thing that you can imagine. So worse than living with my grandparents. So I went home, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to stay here until I turn 18. Once I turn 18, I can go out on my own. So I turned 18 years old, and the day I turned 18, I left. And I had this idea, I had to go to college. Well, because I was so truant from high school, I got expelled. So I get expelled from high school, and I was like, okay, this is really kind of screwing up my plans to go to college because now I'm expelled from high school. Well, so be it. Sometimes miracles come in ways that you don't expect them, right? So miracles happen in the ways that you don't always see them as a miracle. Well, what happened the day that was my final day of school, I went and I cleaned out my locker. I'm walking out to this little junk car that I had, 17 years old. I've got this box of stuff for my locker. I'm feeling pretty crappy about my life at this point because I'm like, how am I going to go to college? I'm getting expelled from high school. And no one seemed to understand why I was truant. Now, the other part of the story was I worked a full-time job and a part-time job. When I say full-time, I worked 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. at a hospital Monday through Friday as the secretary of the dietary department. So I had a full-time job, and then I worked a part-time job on the weekends. So sometimes I didn't go to school because I was so exhausted, and I didn't also go to school because they would assign me homework, and I couldn't do it because I didn't have the time. And I would go to school, and they would just yell at me, right? So I would just be in trouble. Nobody really wanted to understand the circumstances of my life here. And from the viewpoint of my guidance counselor, I was lucky, I was very lucky that someone even took me in, right? So there was no understanding of my situation at all. Well, the day I'm expelled, I'm walking out to my car with this box of my stuff, and I get hit by a car in the school parking lot. So I get hit by a car in the school parking lot, and my friend, Marty, who's there with me, tries to run back into the building. Well, the school, in all of their wisdom, that year installed locks on the outside doors, so once you got out, you couldn't get back in, and that was like a security thing they did. Well, I mean, you got to consider this is 1991. No one had cell phones back then. Nobody could call the police or anything, right? So I get hit by a car not once but twice in the parking lot. We can't get into the building, and we can't get an ambulance or anything like that. So my friend dragged me into a car. My 16-year-old friend, who doesn't even have a driver's license, drives me to the hospital and everything. Well, my grandfather, you know, comes to the hospital, and I'm crying, and I was like, I got expelled from high school, and I don't know what I'm going to do because now I won't be able to go to college. Now, my grandfather was the only person who believed in me enough to believe that I was going to go to college, right? So he was like, okay. So he goes to the principal and threatens to sue them if they don't figure out how to get me to graduate. So what they decide to do is to send a tutor to my house, right? And then when I was 18, I moved out of my grandparents' house. I was living on the couch at a friend's house, and then another friend and another friend. And this tutor would just follow me around wherever I was, and I graduated high school. Well, then I got to college, right? No money. My grades sucked. And I go to the community college, Ocean County Community College in New Jersey, from New Jersey, you know what I'm talking about. The community college denies me. They do not let me in. And I was like, well, community college isn't even letting me in. I applied to all these schools. The only thing I had was really, really good SAT scores. Like I had the top 5% SAT scores. My grades, C's, D's, F's, you know, like not even anything to talk about. And I think my GPA was like a 1.8, you know, and that was just because I got like straight A's my freshman year, and then my sophomore, junior, and senior year I had to work, so I didn't do so well. So I can't, you know, I'm not getting accepted in any of these schools, and I go, the final school that I go into, we're leaving Morristown, New Jersey, my friend's driving me. We see this school called College of St. Elizabeth, and he goes, there's another college, you know, why don't you try there? And I was like, no, I don't know, you know, I don't think I can take another rejection. And he's like, well, why don't you just go see? So I walk into the admissions office. There's a nun standing there, and I literally start bawling. And she takes me into her office. I cry for like 3 hours, tell her my whole life story, and I'm like, I have to go to college. It's my only way out of my life, right? So she asked me, she's like, if we let you come to this college, will you promise that you will give it your all? No drugs, no alcohol, no boys, nothing. You're going to have to work, and then you're going to have to work hard. But if we do this, will you work your hardest? And I said, yes, I'll do anything. So they admit me to the college that day. And it was just the sheer persistence and hanging on to this dream got me into college. So I go to college, and I'm thinking this is my golden ticket, right? Like no one in my family has ever graduated college. No one's ever been to college. Most of my family has never even made it into high school, much less graduated high school, right? So most of my cousins had babies by the time they were 16. Right? So that was the kind of family that I grew up in. And I go to college, I graduate, I get a degree in biology, I worked my tail off, worked 3 jobs, you know, I mean, it was crazy insane. But I graduate, get a degree in biology, and I become a high school teacher. And I think this is like my golden ticket, right? Now I've got a professional job, I've got my own apartment. I'm making more money than, you know, my grandparents made in like 3 years. And, but I realized it was like hard to live off of $30,000 a year. It was really, really hard to live in New Jersey where I was living in Morristown, crazy hard. So, you know, a little bit later I meet John, and we start building our dreams together. right? And if you ever wonder how I met John, John and I have been together almost 20 years. We met on Yahoo. Like, talk about a trendsetter. I met him in 1997 through online dating. People thought I had lost my mind, right? Like I was going to meet psychos. I did meet some psychos. That was part of it. But then I met John, and we've been together ever since, right? So John and I start building our dreams together, and we move out to Arizona. We buy a house. We decide to get married. We get married. And the weekend of our wedding, you know, we were doing pretty well. Like, we were making six figures. John was making the majority of that money. I was a high school teacher. I was making $26,000 a year in Arizona, which was pathetic. John was making six figures at a car dealership. And the weekend of our wedding, they decide to turn his office into 4 cubicles. Like, we're getting married, and his boss, his manager, like, nobody comes to the wedding. And we were like, wow, who doesn't come to their employee's wedding? This is...
I'm sorry, Shannon, you're breaking up pretty bad. Shannon, could you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, it was coming in and out, breaking up pretty bad. Yeah, it sounds better. Very good. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. I must have some interference on my Bluetooth.
Sounds better.
Good. So they take this opportunity to downsize him, right? So a couple months later, John ends up in the hospital from stress, right? The stress of his job. And many of you may have been there, right? You may have been at that point where you literally, like, the stress of your career, your job, your financial situation is just eating you up. And doctor comes out to me, right? He's in the emergency room. Doctor comes out to me and says, look, your husband has a stress-induced condition, and if he doesn't change his lifestyle, he'll be dead in 5 years, right? Not like maybe, but he will be dead in 5 years. Now, we're newlyweds. He's 31 years old. He looks, you know, buff on the outside, although he was eating lots of burritos from the taco place at the time. So he looks healthy from the outside, though, right? And but inside, he's dying because he's miserable at his job. And I can't really help him because I'm miserable at my job. And my income is so pathetic that we can't survive without his income. We had a house, we had new cars, you know, we're trying to live the American dream, and the American dream is basically turning into like a pile of dust in front of us. So we get turned on, you know, we were like, okay, what do we do now? What is it that we do? And John gets a flyer on his car. This was before internet marketing was even a thing. Gets a flyer on his car, and the bottom of the flyer says, you know, I hope you call, because if you don't, you know, I hope you love what you do for a living, because you'll probably be doing it forever. And John called. He went to a presentation, and he came home. He was so excited. And he was like, you know, will you go to this presentation and see what they're talking about? It was $1,500 to get started in this deal, and we're broke, like broke. At that point, we were already paying our car payments and our mortgage with credit cards I was securing. So I was like, yeah, I'll go check it out with you. So he takes me to this presentation, right? There's no webinars back then, like no webinars. I go to this hotel room presentation, and I'm sitting in this room, and there's, John, what was there, like, there's 2 people I remember that I'll mention, but I think there was a third person. There was 3 people in the room, right?
Oh yeah, it was slim pickings.
Yeah.
it was really slim pickings.
So get this. So there's the presenter who's the owner of the company. There is a guy who's wearing overalls, you know, like farmers wear overalls. He's wearing overalls to a hotel room presentation, and he's only wearing overalls, right? No T-shirt, just overalls. There's a woman there who had the gnarliest feet I've ever seen in my entire life. She's wearing sandals, and all I could do was stare at her feet. Like it took everything I could possibly do to not look at her feet. And you know, and it was just one of those things, like, you're really trying not to stare, but I was like, okay. And then there was one other person who didn't make much of a difference, but the presentation was so compelling, and John was like, you know, what do you think? Like, and I was like, look, you know, at this point, I don't, like, we could lose our house or whatever. I don't care. I would rather live in a tent in the desert than ever have a doctor come out and tell me you're going to die from the stress of your job ever again. Like, that's not an option. So if it's $1,500, like, yeah, we'll find $1,500. Let's just find it. We'll sell furniture. I'll borrow it. I'll beg for it, like, whatever. We'll find $1,500. So we find $1,500, and we get started in this business. Now, the reason I'm telling you this whole backstory isn't to, like, tell you my whole life story, but I want you to really understand that I was not a likely success story. I didn't come into the industry with money. I didn't come into the industry with skills. I didn't come into the industry with any ability, other than I knew how to teach kids. And one of the assets that I do have that has made me successful is I have an unbelievable lack of fear of bad things. Like, John will tell you, I'm always like, whatever, you know, we'll just figure it out. Like, it'll be fine. We'll figure it out. And it's always been my viewpoint. Like, whatever happens, we're going to be fine on the other side of it. You know? So, and I do have that, like, persistence of knowing it's going to be okay. And so we get started in this business, and we have a lot of success very fast. Now, there were very simple things that we did that helped us have a lot of success very fast. Fast forward to Digital Altitude, and John being a coach, and fast forward to other businesses we've done that we've been able to ramp up very quickly and have a lot of success. We followed these exact same things every single time. And then I'll tell you another place where this really, really showed up in our lives. So if you have your pen and paper, I'm going to list these out for you, because in our first 16 months in this industry, we made over $1 million. Right? Our first 16 months made over $1 million. This is what we did. The very first thing that we did was John and I sat down and we decided, we didn't just create a want, we actually decided what our goal was and when we wanted to achieve the price. So we decided what our goal was and when we wanted to achieve the price, and we wrote it down. We wrote our goal down, and we wrote it multiple times per day. We had it on goal cards. I mean, I'll just be real with you guys. I had my goal card laminated in plastic, and I would wear it in my bra all day long. And I'll tell you, if you don't think that's like, it was outrageously uncomfortable, but because it was so uncomfortable, it was a constant reminder of what my goal was. Right? So we had, step number one, we decided what our goal was. We wrote it down. We wrote it multiple times per day, and we always had it with us. Okay. Step number two, we became students of personal development. We became students of personal development. We changed our habits. So in order to fill our minds with the right things, we eliminated the wrong things. What did that look like? We canceled our cable TV. John will tell you that I was an unbelievable TV addict. And the only things I watched were Cops, Law and Order, anything that had to do with crime or law. At the time, Ally McBeal was on, for those of you who were, my age. I just watched all these crime and court shows. And I would watch them every day, right? So we canceled our cable TV. And we stopped reading or listening or watching the news. We completely cut it out. We made this 90-day goal in step number 1. In step number 2, we committed to a 90-day media and TV fast, and we took time every day for personal development. So what might it look like? Well, what I did was I read 20 pages of a book every day. That's it, just 20 pages, right? 20 pages of a book. Sometimes if the book was super, super engaging, I would read more. If the book wasn't so engaging, I might read a little less, right? So, but we committed to our personal development. Hey, the bottom line is the person who you are right now is the person who's getting the results you are getting right now, right? Do you get that? The person you are right now is the person who's getting the results you're getting right now. So if you don't like the results, you have to improve yourself, period. Right? It's not an option. It's not like miraculously you're going to start manifesting awesomeness by doing the same things you've always done and being the same person you've always been. So you have to improve yourself. Now, here with Digital Altitude, you've got a great opportunity because you've got tons and tons and tons of training, right? You can dig into your courses every day for self-improvement. That is personal development, right? That is personal development. You studying how to do Facebook ads is personal development. You becoming a social media guru is personal development. You learning how to become efficient at funnel building is personal development. That's skill development, right? And then also learning how to control your mindset is personal development. Negative people get negative results. Positive people get positive results. Fundamentally, that is a law of the universe. So, if you want better results, you have to be able to focus your attention on the results that you want. Right? So that was number 2, personal development. We committed to personal development. That also meant cutting out negative people. And I'll tell you, John and I had our fair share of negative people in our lives, right? So we had to cut out those negative people too. When we started, I was a high school teacher, and I was telling people the other day, like, the teachers taunt me, openly taunt me. They once brought in gold-wrapped chocolate coins, right? Like the chocolate that's wrapped in gold to look like money. And they put it on my desk and said, look, you finally struck that gold. I mean, they were just jerks, right? They were totally condemning my goals. So I had to just shut them out. At one point, I moved my desk out of the room of teachers and into my classroom so that I didn't have to be in the room with them. They were so negative on me. They weren't so negative the day I quit my job and rolled up in a new Lexus, but I never would have gotten to that point if I listened to them, right? So personal development is also like shutting out the naysayers. Number 3 is we've focused on income-producing activities. And this is your daily method of operation. Are you going to be tired? You are. You are going to be tired. Are you going to have to work late into the middle of the night sometimes? Yes, you are. There will come a week where you can sleep the entire week. But for now, when you're ramping up, it's like a rocket ship taking off. You're going to have to put in a lot of fuel to build momentum. That's just how it is, right? So you're going to have to put in a lot of fuel to build momentum. As you do that, you're going to see more and more success. And then you'll get to a point where you're like, wow, I can actually sleep late today, right? But sleep is like a reward when you're done. And the vacation is a reward when you're done. Are you going to have to miss some birthday parties, anniversary celebrations, stuff like that? Yes, you are. That's just part of it, right? That is a bit of the sacrifice that comes with achieving something incredible and awesome. You have to earn the lifestyle. You don't just walk into the lifestyle day one, right? You can look at us and be like, yes, that's the lifestyle I want. Well, understand that we worked to get it. Now we have it, right? You don't get it day one. So it's very, very important that you have a structured DMO. And when I have let this go, things in my life have not gone so well. My results have suffered. My health has suffered. My, friendships and stuff have suffered because I don't operate with a strict DMO. A DMO is a daily method of operation, right? When you look at people that are operating at the highest level of success, like let's take a professional athlete, right? A professional athlete wakes up the same time every day. They have a routine. They work out a certain time, they eat a certain time, they work out a certain time, they eat a certain time, they only eat certain foods, they train for a certain number of hours, they take a certain nutritional regimen. Like they are on a very strict routine while they're training, right? And that's what enables them to perform at such an intense rate. Then once they win or go to the meet or have the championship or any of that, after that, then they relax a little bit, but only for a very, very short period of time. A DMO is critical to your success because it enables you to have the structure to get everything in there that you need to get done. Hey, look, I know a lot of you are still working jobs, right? You're here building your dream. And while you're building your dream, you're doing whatever it takes to maintain the life that you already have, right? Well, how do you fit in the time to do your personal development, to learn how to do Facebook, to do these Facebook Lives, to do these Instagram posts, to, get the traffic to your links? How do you get the time in there? You have to plan it. And if you plan it, everything can fit in. You might have to drop your 8 hours of sleep to 6 hours, maybe even 5 hours some night. You might have to change from going to the gym to running around your street, depending on whatever. You might have to give up your lunch hour, to do some promotion, bag your lunch or something. Like there's things that you're going to have to do. When we started, John walked around parking lots during lunch and stuff to make calls. It was like food was an afterthought, right? So you want to have a daily method of operation that incorporates all your income-producing activities. Okay, number 4, and this is very, very critical. And some of you are not going to like this one. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, because you already have your excuses lined up, right? You already have all the reasons you can't do this already well prepared in your mind. No time, no money, conflict, blah, 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 blah. You have to put yourself in the environment of leaders. When we got started in this industry, the very first event that we had the opportunity to go to, and hold on to your seats, folks, the very first opportunity that we had to go to be around the people who are making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month, the kind of money we wanted to make, that very first event, was $8,000. $8,000. Now, we hadn't made any money in the business. We did everything we could possibly do to get the 1,500 together, and now we were told we needed to come up with $8,000 to go to this event, to be with the leaders for 4 days, to learn how to be a leader. The decision for us was easy. Finding the money, not so easy. The decision was easy. The reason the decision was easy was because we had already experienced the hell of working jobs we hated. And if we didn't make this work, if we didn't do it, then the rest of our life was going to be working jobs we hated. And that just, like, it was not, we were not willing to agree for that. Like, we weren't going to agree to that. And we looked around and we said, you know what, there's these people making $40,000 or $50,000 a month, and they're no different than us. They're not smarter than us. They're more capable than us. They don't have more education than us, but they do know something that we don't know. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to find out. And the only way I'm going to find out is getting to this event. They're all going to be there. So if they're going to be there, then I should probably be there, right? Because I'm going to follow the leader. So we figured it out. We got our money together. You know, once we decided, there were some miracles that actually took place. It was actually extraordinary how it came together, really amazing. And we got to the Bahamas. Yes, we had to buy the world's worst tickets on Priceline. I had a very cheap off-the-rack dress that I got for like $40 at Macy's for the black tie event. And we had $100 cash to our name. $100. That was all we had when we went there. We knew we had to keep $15 of it because there was an exit tax. Well, the first morning we go to breakfast, the breakfast was $35 a person. So all of our money was blown on one meal. One meal, and we were done for the event. Fortunately, the rest of the event, they included food, at least once a day, maybe twice a day. So we did eat an extraordinary amount of food whenever they put it out because we knew we didn't have any money for any. But we went to that event, and we came out of the event, and coming out of that event, we made, in like a 1 week period, $17,000 right after that event. And it was totally, I will tell you, because we went to the event. It was because we went to the event. So number 4 is we always put ourselves in the position of being around the leader. If you talk to any leader, they will tell you they never miss an event. Never. Never. There was an event at one point that John and I were going to, and our dog died the day before we were going to the event. Now, we didn't have kids at the time. Our dog was like our baby. It was devastating. I couldn't get on the plane the next day. I just couldn't. John got on the plane. I give him so much credit because he was just as much a mess as I was. I don't know if he'll admit that, but he was a mess, right? Both a mess. The next day I got on a plane and went to the event. Leaders will never miss events. Now, why did I say you may not like me for this? Because there's an event in October, right? And there's a lot of you on this call who haven't bought a ticket to it. And you're like, well, I'm going to see, I'm going to wait, you know, maybe I'll go, maybe I won't. That, my friends, is a failure mentality. You've already decided that failure is a potential option. If you are committed to your success in this business, if you got started to win, then you have your ticket. And if you are committed to winning and committed to succeeding and committed to doing whatever it takes to play the game of winning and having extraordinary results and not having to work a job. Listen, I haven't worked a job in 15 years. I do what I want whenever I want. No one tells me what to do. And I've got enough money to do it. I go where I want, you know, take my daughter with me, take nannies with me, travel first class, donate money, bring friends, you know, like we're able to do whatever we want. And it's because we made a decision early on that we were going to do whatever it takes. So there's an MME coming up on, you know, in October, and you have an opportunity to be there with the leaders October 13th, 14th, and 15th. You have an opportunity to rub shoulders with these guys, to pick their brains, to learn their strategies, to find out what they're doing, to get trained, to dial in your skills, which, by the way, these skills that you learn in DA, you will always be able to make money with them. Right? I can't guarantee that you're magically going to make money. There's an income disclaimer. You can go to the website. You can read the entire thing. But I can tell you that the skills of internet marketing, every time I've needed to make money in life, I've been able to use these skills. And not just a little money, make a lot of money. Name it and claim it. Like, there's no limit on what you can earn online. So you make a decision to be at every single event. And you have that same opportunity. The people who don't go to events, I've never seen, in my 15 years of doing this, I have never seen somebody not go to an event and be successful. I personally have not seen that. Could there be an anomaly out there somewhere? Sure, right? They might not. It might be someone who's, you know, got it dialed in and they don't go to events now because they're cashed up and cashing in. But in the beginning, there's no way they didn't go to events. No way. We all do the same things. We all say the same things. I don't get paid for you to go to an event. It doesn't matter to me if you go. It doesn't. The person it matters to is you. The fifth thing that we did was we expected to be leaders. We expected it. We literally pushed ourselves into the circle of leaders. Wherever they were, I was. If I saw them at the bar, I was at the bar. If I saw them going to a restaurant, I showed up at the restaurant. Like, I probably was the most annoying person there was. But I always put myself in the environment until eventually I was part of that group. Not just because I was cool to hang out with, but because I was making the money, right? Leaders don't just hang out with anybody. We're very, very protective of our environment, extremely protective. So we expected to be leaders. Not only did we expect to be leaders, but we expected our people to be leaders. Now, what did that look like? If my people don't go to an event, I don't work with them. Now, you might think, wow, that's harsh. It's not. Because if they're not willing to show up for their own success, why should I show up for their success? You want me to work for free? Like, you're only willing to do part of what I tell you, and you expect me to continue mentoring you? It doesn't work that way. So my team, if I tell them to go to an event, after the event, I work with the people who were there. The other people can listen to the recording. Then they can get back into the groove at the next event. But who knows? That could be 90 days, right? But I'm going to invest my time, energy, and effort into the people who show up and do what it takes for their own success. Leaders think this way because there's no free ride. Like, you have to show up for your own success. Nobody can make it happen for you. No one just passed me, gave me, I could have easily said, John and I could have easily said, $8,000, there's no way we can do that. And we would have been right. We would have been 100% right. But it wouldn't have been the right decision for us to be successful. It absolutely wouldn't have been. And I'll also tell you that in VA, a lot of the leaders that you hear here, right, Aaron Parkinson, Jason Howell, these are connections that we made years ago, over a decade ago, at a live event. This weekend I was at an event, and a gal that I met 13 years ago at a live event got on stage and credited me with helping her be successful because she went to an event and met me there. And I thought, wow, isn't that amazing? Not only does you showing up affect you, but think about all the other people that you can set an example for, that you can motivate, that you can inspire, that you can shine a light for. There's a lot of opportunity out there, but you have to show up for it. So those 5 things that John and I did, those were what helped us be successful. And we were very, very much the unlikely success story. We came out of poverty. We were financially desperate. We had no training. John had some. He was in sales. I had none. When I started prospecting, I would hang up on people. I was so nervous, right? And we just pushed and pushed and pushed, and we did everything the leaders told us to do. We were the most coachable people you've ever met. If they said to do something, we did it. Our leader said, put 5,000 flyers out. It was July in Tucson, Arizona. It was literally like walking through hell. I walked parking lots every single day to put flyers out. I got sunburned in places I didn't even know I could get sunburned. But we did it because we were told to do it by a successful person whose success we wanted to have. And because we did that, we had a lot of success. So that, my friends, is about the best advice I can give you. And if I don't see you at the MME in October, I'm sorry. And if I do see you, then I'm excited for what you're going to accomplish in life and in business, because you're willing to go all out, and you're willing to do what it takes, and you're willing to kind of put your ego in check of the, I know what I need to do type of thing, and just say, you know what, I'm a clean slate, just tell me what to do and I'm going to do it. And that type of, attitude is what helped John and I have a tremendous amount of success in this industry. So John, back to you, I was going to say my friend, but my love, my partner, my whatever.
Are you there, Shannon?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. I think we're having a little bit of a technology issue on the bridge. It may or may not have been your phone, but the conference bridge is having a little bit of a challenge. In any event, a lot of value. People are giving you a lot of great feedback on the chat roll. I'd like to open it up for some questions and comments if you'd like to participate with a few of our members here. We've got a bunch of people online, so let's go ahead and do that. Just stand by, everybody. Here we go. All right, so Q&A session has started, and if you'd like to come out here and talk with Shannon live, you can go ahead and raise your hand. You can do that by clicking the raise your hand button, which used to be your mute button. And if you are on a phone, the command would be *6, and then that would raise your hand. And I do see our first caller in queue, which is Michael. Michael, you're live on the air. Michael, you're live.
Oh yeah, I'm typing. Do I type? Oh.
No, you talk and you listen, and yeah, we can hear you. Okay, Michael, what's your question or comment for Shannon tonight?
It has to do with organization. Is there a certain amount of time that you sit down during the day and you dedicate, let's say, 30 minutes to driving traffic, 30 minutes to some other marketing, 30 minutes on a website? I mean, is there some method that you suggest or use as far as organizing your day? Now, I just enrolled in Simpleology, which is amazing, but I'm just kind of curious how the big hitters kind of organize their day.
So I work off of what's called a battle plan, and the night before I list out the things that I need to accomplish the next day, and I go from one item to the next on my list.
Okay.
And it doesn't necessarily go in time increments because some things may take longer than others.
Right.
Some things may take shorter than others. So that's what works specifically for me. I know other people have other strategies, but that's mine.
Okay. So just kind of prioritize your day and then sit down and knock it out one at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Love tonight's talk, and I will look forward to meeting you in Vegas, and John too, and everybody else.
Absolutely, Michael. Yeah, we are going to see you there, my friend. Where are you coming from?
Southern California, so not too far. I got a sister who lives I grew up in Vegas. I got sisters up there, family, so I'm going to stay with some of my family, visit them while I'm up there, and just suck in everything I can at the MME.
Sounds
I'm
good,
a new,
man.
so,
yeah, well, you are definitely coming to the right place, and your timing is awesome, Michael, so fantastic.
Absolutely. Loving it. Love you guys. Love this community. Dedicated, and I will see everybody top. But I'll also see you on the wake-up call tomorrow. But thank you for letting me ask my question.
Oh, yeah, pleasure. Absolutely, Michael. Thanks for being here. We're going to go to our next caller, which is Llewellyn. Llewellyn, you're live on the air.
Hi, good morning from South Africa here.
Welcome to South Africa. Awesome.
Yes, like I said, it's very early in the morning. It's almost 4 o'clock a.m. now. I woke up 2-3, but it's awesome. And I really enjoy the talk of Shannon. Shannon, you are an awesome speaker, motivator, and you really made me excited to do this and see all and meet all of you in Vegas coming soon. So I don't have a question. I just want to thank you, John, and Shannon for the absolute awesome talk we had.
That's awesome. Yes, and you know what? You're doing something extraordinary, and you're doing what it takes. You're coming all the way from South Africa to Vegas. So anyone who's in the U.S. or Canada who's saying you can't get there, yeah.
Yeah, and
I've been to South Africa. I know the journey, my friend. So congratulations to you. You're awesome.
Thank you very much, Shannon. Like I said, our currency is, I probably think, is the worst in the world because for $1 I almost pay 14 Rand in South Africa. So imagine if the ticket is $5,000, how much must I be able to pay? But I'm willing to do it as an investment in my future.
That's awesome.
That's true. You know, Shannon and I, when we were in South Africa, we had a great experience, first of all, but we also noticed, the tremendous volatility of some of the currencies, not just in South Africa, but we were also in Zimbabwe. I think we paid $12 million for lunch one day. It was just, so there's definitely considerations. But, the other part of that, Llewellyn, is you get paid in U.S. dollars. So happy days.
Yeah. Yes. God, we
look forward to seeing you and hearing more from you, sir, as you continue to progress here as an entrepreneur in our digital altitude community. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you, Shannon.
All right. And we will now go to our next caller, which is Glenn, and not in Houston. I was going to say Glenn in Houston, but I happen to know my buddy Glenn is in Scotland right now. Scotland!
Well, good morning, afternoon, evening. I'm thinking it's already tomorrow morning where I am here, John. I was impressed with Llewellyn there. It's only 3 in the morning here in Aberdeen, but I'll tell you what, Shannon has absolutely fired me right back up. Whether I get any sleep tonight is probably an open question. But thank you so much for this extremely powerful information, Shannon. The 4 steps that you laid out with such clarity tonight have already given me a very strong and a very clear direction for what to start with tomorrow morning. I do have one question for you, Shannon. It was about your step 4 that you laid out, and that is putting oneself in the environment of leaders, and that leaders never miss events. I'm curious as to how you and John, you know, I know a little bit about your husband, but I'm curious as to how you, Shannon, promote events within your team. What kind of things do you say or share? Are there specific actions that you take in order to promote upcoming events within your team?
That's a really great question. So I basically go through the same steps that I talked about, and and I want to make sure I didn't miss the 5th one. There was 5, and that's cultivate the expectation of leadership in yourself and others. And that step number 5 is really like what I say to my team is, look, you know, one, I know you guys want my support, you want my leadership, you want my help in building your business. Here's how that's going to look after the event. After the event, I'm going to be working with the people who are at the event, period. So if you're not there, you're going on to my B list. And if you want to be on my A list, you have to be at the event.
I see.
You know, I've had people say to me, well, I've got, you know, my brother's sister's cousin's baptism or whatever. And I'm like, you know, to me, like, whatever, you're going to have to, this is your future. And if it was me, I mean, I would be, unless I was like a maid of honor in a wedding that was planned months or years in advance, you know, knowing me, I'd probably still, like, the minute the wedding was over, I'd be on a plane and be like, sorry, I can't be at the reception. You know what I mean? Like, it's just because it is what the gentleman from South Africa said, it's my future. So I just tell people, like, look, you came here to create your future. Like, this is your way out of all the things you don't like, not having time, not having money, you know, working for someone who's miserable, hating your job. Like, this is your way out if you really take advantage of the opportunity. If you don't, then I don't, you know, there's not much I can do for you because you're going to have, you know, basically 3 days of kick-ass training with people who are making millions of dollars. You know, Jason Stone is going to be on stage walking you through exactly what he does to create 2 million followers on Instagram. You're going to have Darren and Rhonda, who are the top earners in the company, walking you through their funnels, you know. Like, this is like the magic sauce. People are always like, what's the secret? What's the secret? Well, this is the secret. Like, this is it. So why would I spend all my time with you after the event when you're going to be at such an incredible disadvantage of not having the same training as the people who went? You know, so it's, I really have like a very hard line with it, and that is setting the expectation.
Oh, that's absolutely what I need to hear, and that's exactly it. You're very, very strong. Obviously, you're very strong with that, and in setting the expectation, setting the standard high, and the people who are on your team who are leaders will themselves rise to that standard. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Because in business, you want to, like, in this industry, you want to run with the runners, right? And we all have the same 24 hours in a day. So if I'm going to maximize my effort and the earning potential of my effort, I'm going to align it with the people who have the highest potential for success. The people who go to the event have a much higher potential for success than the people who don't.
And you don't apologize for holding that attitude, do you?
No way.
Beautiful.
Not at
That's so
all.
strong. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you so much for your leadership and John's leadership. I appreciate you all so much. I'm looking forward to finally meeting you in Vegas.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be fun.
Thanks a lot. Back to you guys.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, Glenn. And we are going to have to speed it up here a little bit because we got a couple more callers in queue. So let's go to Jagdish. Jagdish, you're live on the air.
Hey, John. Hi, John and Shannon. Shannon, your story was absolutely amazing. Very, very inspiring. I live in Canada, and I will be in Vegas. And I'm going to skip my friends, uncles, aunts, sisters' party on the 13th to be in Vegas.
That's awesome. Don't worry, there'll be plenty of alcohol and food in Vegas.
Okay. So my question is, I'm at step 17, just moving on to 18. So my question is, as we work through the traffic aspects of DA, is there any element of website building that would be required on our part? Is it required, recommended?
I mean, John can speak to that. I mean, I'll just tell you kind of what I do in general for anything is I use ClickFunnels, which is awesome. I know a lot of other leaders use it too because you can just create funnels on the fly. It's like super, super easy. But John can speak to that because he is a coach and he takes people through those steps.
Yeah, there's obviously all these funnels that are done for you, and you're going to be seeing that, Jagdish, as you an opportunity for you to start branding yourself, names and websites that you can put on those domains, and that would be something that, like Shannon mentioned, ClickFunnels is one tool.
Lost you there for a bit.
Okay,
Yeah,
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, very good. Yeah, apparently I'm having some difficulties on the console tonight. Sorry about that, guys. But there is certainly a variety of things you can do to create your own websites, which is what you were asking about. Just to get my brain back into the conversation while trying to get the technology working here. But not an immediate need. That's a more advanced consideration. And if you've got an aptitude for it, you can certainly start now, but it's not something that's going to hold you back from getting going and building momentum with your marketing. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does, because the way I understood it, it's primarily involves generating traffic using the affiliate links that we get provided. And that traffic could come from anywhere, from Facebook, Instagram, pay-per-click, what have you. A website really isn't a requirement. So you've just confirmed that.
Excellent. Excellent. Very good, Jagdish. Well, we look forward to seeing you at the Marketing Mastery event in Vegas. We will see you there.
Likewise. Thank you so much for taking my question.
My pleasure. Yeah, and we'll go to our next caller, which is Michael. Michael, you're live on the air.
Hello. This is Mike. Hi, Shannon and John. My question is, what's your special tool you developed during those years as an entrepreneur? What's the special sauce or the special tool what you have, what you built and what you developed during those years? What that would be? Can you tell me?
It's exactly what I just went through. It's those 5 steps.
5 steps?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's the 5 steps that I just went through. That is our secret sauce.
Okay, so, okay. I caught it a little bit later, so All right. Sounds great.
Well, definitely tune into the podcast, Michael. There's a podcast that you can tune into and get all of these episodes right on your phone or your computer or however you like. So we've got that all for you. Shannon enumerated some great decisions and methods that, you know what, this is going to be a featured episode, I can tell you right now. So we're going to make sure you've got a replay of all this and you can go through it again. Sound good?
All right. Thanks.
All right, Michael. My pleasure. We got time for just a couple more. And not sure who this next caller is, but whoever I just unmuted, you're live on the air. Who's this?
Hey, how you doing? This is Martavius.
Martavius. Welcome, sir.
Yes, sir. My question is to Shannon, and she kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. Somebody asked her about step 5, but my question is, other than attending the event, what are some other ways that we can put ourselves in an environment full of leaders?
That's a great question. Well, you're doing it right now by being on the live calls, because then you have an opportunity to interact directly with the leader. So like being on this call, being on the other live calls, being on the Rise webinars, you know, that definitely puts you into the environment of success. The other thing that I would look for are the lives, like the Facebook lives that the do. The calls and webinars that Michael does. Michael's a phenomenal trainer. So looking out, you know, when Michael is on the line doing anything, I would listen to him. So that's the other thing, you know, I'm on live calls every day. And it always gives me an opportunity to connect because they hear my name, they know who I am. Then when I show up at an event, I'm like, hey, I'm Shannon from Salt Lake. And they're like, oh, Shannon from Salt Lake, you know? So you make yourself known that way. And by connecting with them. And even at the end of a call, like, you know, if I didn't have a question, I don't always have questions at the end of calls, but I would definitely, like, raise my hand to come out or jump out and be like, hey, it's Shannon from Salt Lake. I just wanted to let you know this call is amazing. Thank you for content, and that was it. Right? So I made myself known that way as well. When I started, we did live conference calls, so I always, like at the beginning of every call, I was like, Shannon from Tucson. I lived in Tucson at the time, and by the time I got to a live event, I was like, hey, I'm Shannon from Tucson, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, it's so good to meet you, you know? So that's it's a great way of connecting with leaders as well.
Okay, that definitely answered my question. This will be my first event, so I'll be glad to see you guys there. I'm coming from Mississippi.
Make sure you get there early in the morning so you can, like, run in and get a great seat.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you, man. And coming from Mississippi, good times. And then we got one more caller, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap up the call. And that is Leonard. Leonard, you're live on the air.
No one's allowed to tell the president this information.
Leonard, are you there?
Tell the president the information. Close the door on their.
Uh-oh, sounds like Leonard is listening to something else while he's doing this.
I think John Kelly has to lay down.
We'll go ahead and wrap up with that. Shannon, thank you so much for the service you provided here tonight. You see, everybody, this is my secret weapon. So how fortunate am I? Shannon, any closing comments from you?
Just that you're awesome and amazing, and I had to publicly praise the call, and I look forward to seeing everybody in Vegas October, and I'll be John, of course, because I do get to create a schedule for the event. The training that you're going to get is out of this world. It is just unbelievable, the training. And some of the people that I met at previous industry had no success. Now she's on the leaderboard, right? On the leaderboard, she's just cranking it out. You know, these are the success stories that you get to see, but you also get to be. So I look forward to meeting all of you there.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, Shannon. And everyone, we will be back here tomorrow morning for our wake-up call with our buddy Joel Straight. In the meantime, make it a great night. You absolutely deserve it. And of course, if you have not yet grabbed your ticket to the Marketing Mastery event, you can do that at digitalaltitude.co/MME. That's all for now. See you all real soon, and take care. Bye for now.